Hey everyone, it's Richard from Digital Foundry here.
And I am here as well. This is John.
And today we're taking a look at the highly controversial PC version of Quantum Break, and we are doing some analysis here, benchmarking at 1080p on maximum settings, everything ramped up to ultra. And well, let's take a look at the differential here.
Yeah, this is definitely another DX12 game where we're seeing AMD pull ahead, and perhaps more so than ever before. There's a nice, what looks like a 20 frame advantage, 1520 or so.
I think, in this like-for-like footage, we're seeing a 50% performance advantage in favour of AMD here, which is absolutely remarkable. I can't really recall the last time I've seen a gap that large. And I think the thing that's kind of more concerning from my perspective is if you look at the frame time, the green line there, GTX 970, there are some really annoying dips down, way down to sort of 50, 60, 70 milliseconds. AMD, sort of 16, 33 milliseconds there.
Yeah, it's not completely fluid on either machines, really, but we're seeing smoother overall frame times on the AMD card there, or at least higher in general. None of the spikes under 33 there.
That's the interesting thing. 16, 33 millisecond jumps, as you'd expect with a VSync game, and we can't really do anything about that because we're in Windows, the UWP platform.
That's right, we're stuck with double buffered VSync here.
Yeah, and it's not great. And well, as we move into the action here, you can see that the differential is just getting wider.
And yeah, the thing about NVIDIA performance here is that the thing that's really killing the frame rate is actually the volumetric lighting effects. If you crank that up to the ultra setting here, it absolutely murders performance on the 970.
Yeah, it's really sort of having issues here. And another thing we've noticed is that the driver can actually crash at any given point.
Yes, this is something that happened to myself and the PCs over in the Digital Foundry office as well, where you're just playing along and then bam, driver crash. I even went through and reinstalled everything from scratch, removed the old drivers, and still occasionally getting crashing in this game.
I've never seen anything like it. The last time I saw the display driver crash is when I was overclocking, really pushing the NVIDIA driver.
Yeah, it's usually a sign of something serious going on.
Real concerns here, especially since this is a game-ready driver that NVIDIA have provided here.
That's right.
And one thing which I would like to highlight, which I'm really happy about, is that AMD actually provided a day one driver for this title, and one of my big bugbears with AMD over the last few months has been the lack of those day one updates, which has resulted in some issues on titles like Fallout 4 and Just Cause. But recently they've really got their act together, and this is probably the best example yet of how that is paying off for them.
Yeah, they definitely seem to be on an upswing here between DirectX 12 stuff and getting driver updates out on day one. It's looking pretty good.
Okay, so what you're looking at now is actually the cutscenes in the game. Now, Quantum Break PC does have the ability to unlock the frame rate, but the cutscenes, they're kind of locked at 30 anyway.
Yeah, I think that's probably a decision made to help the game gel better with the pre-rendered cutscenes that are used, perhaps?
Possibly, and it may well be the case that the actual motion capture data is 30 Hz.
Oh, right. That's also true. But whatever the reason, as you can see, it's capped at 30 frames per second in cutscenes, and it's not completely smooth, is it?
No, it's not great, and what's happening there is a lack of frame pacing. So 30 FPS, every frame should be delivered in a 33 millisecond pacing interval, but instead we're getting frames delivered at 16, 33, 50, and this is kind of like a long-standing bugbear that we have with PC titles. Ideally, you could use something like the NVIDIA half-rate adaptive VSync option to force frame pacing.
Exactly.
And you can't do that with the Windows platform at the moment, which is extremely frustrating. By default, the game actually has that 30 FPS cap in place, and as you can see from the footage here, it is really grim.
Yeah, it does not look nice at all in action. Theoretically, these machines could easily be matching the Xbox One here, but with the bad frame pacing, it just looks significantly jerkier in motion.
The game is actually delivering 30 frames per second, it's just not delivering them in an even manner, so it actually looks considerably worse than the update you see on Xbox One. Oh, one thing which I would like to point out, you'll note here that the main character has the piracy eye patch active. It's a kind of traditional feature in Remedy games where if you're running a cracked version of the game, you get this piracy eye patch which sort of highlights that you've been a naughty boy. And not even that seems to be working properly because, well, there isn't a pirated version of Quantum Break available at the moment. We are literally just running this game offline and we're still getting shamed for it, which I kind of find slightly objectionable.
Yeah, which in our case is particularly particularly strange because we needed to test the game on the Xbox One as well at the same time. And I, for one, actually purchased the game for myself on launch day. So I was using my own copy of the game, but I logged into the same profile we were using on the PC in order to keep the save games in effect. And when I did that, of course, it said, oh, you're already playing this game on the PC. Do you want to switch to Xbox One and sign out the other user? So there's like a conflict there that's very frustrating to deal with.
Okay, so we were looking at the R9 390. This is ultra settings here, and we're getting sort of 45 FPS. So we wondered if we could actually drop down the settings and get the lock 60, which would provide what I would say would probably be a revelatory enhancement to the gameplay experience over the Xbox One version. But here's the thing, we can't do it. So we're running GTX 970 and 390 here on medium settings, kind of equivalent to Xbox One. Now, we're getting much the same readout on the R9 390 as the Ultra, and the reason why is that, bizarrely, it seems to be the case that Quantum Break has a 50 FPS cap.
Or I suppose it's more like 5/6 of your refresh rate.
Yeah, that's right. It's just utterly bizarre.
So you're going to be stuck with judder regardless. It's just not possible to get a completely even frame time here.
And just to illustrate the issue, it really is sort of, we're not making this up. Here is the game running at 720p, low settings on a Titan X, and we still can't get above 50 FPS.
Yeah, you can see the results here. It's not fluid enough. It's not what it should be on a Titan X.
Something has got to be done here. Anyway, I guess we'll leave it there for now. Please do like and subscribe to Digital Foundry if you'd like to see more of the same, but that's all we've got for now. I'll see you soon.
See you soon.